back to another episode of Let's Have Breakfast. I have on again my dear friend Autumn Black.
Hello.
We're going to get into what we've been up to the past, 6 months with the Socialite Circle and just catch up because this girl is moving in a few weeks and she's leaving Kansas City. She's going to Detroit. So wanted to have space for convos about that and just in general have breakfast at night. Catch up.
I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry.
Oh, okay. Not yet. I will soon. I'm Autumn Black, and a big part of my year and of me this last year has been being the current reigning Miss Missouri USA. So that's been something that's been super exciting. I've been able to do a lot of appearances around Kansas City, Missouri, and even globally. Competed at Miss USA, which was super fun, representing Missouri. Outside of that, I'm also a social media manager at Oracle, and I'm also partners with Jaden, a co-founder of the Socialite Circle. So I guess we'll get into it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
What even is the Socialite Circle?
Oh
my
God.
What the hell is that?
I'm so glad you asked. The Socialite Circle is basically just a community for Kansas City area content creators, influencers to come together and basically have a space to create content and to really show the talent and the content that Kansas City influencers put out there, because all of these big cities like New York, Atlanta, they always have these huge influencer events, and Jaden and I were like, we don't have that. That's something that we want to bring to Kansas City. And so that's the Socialite Circle was born.
And to add,
I'm sorry.
To add to that, I would say there is a big discrepancy when it comes to creators in Kansas City getting opportunities. So you do see things like Fabletics just had a trip here to the first ever born stadium for women's sports. And it's for our Kansas City current team, and they brought a big group of influencers here, and there were people that I love and look up to that were invited, and it kind of sucks to be in the city that things are happening when things really don't happen very often and still not getting those opportunities. So I think that's another big focus that we have is just when opportunities are present, we should be in the room, and not by not just we us too, but people, specifically Black women, but also just women that are creating content. Well, not even just women, just people that are creating content in Kansas City are often overlooked. So we want to make space for people like that.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned, when that trip happened, I think it's awesome that we're able to bring a lot of people to Kansas City and show them Kansas City, but there are also local Kansas City influencers and content creators who are on the ground and a part of the community that, you're kind of flying influencers out to. So I think it's important to kind of allow that space to be made for those who are local to the community to make an impact on some of those more national and larger brand initiatives. So that's kind of what our whole goal is.
We've also done some cool things. It's not just we don't get opportunities, we're making opportunities for ourselves. We're doing some really cool shit. So far, how many people have we partnered with? How many brands?
4 or 5 thus far.
This will be 5.
Yeah. This will be 5.
Yeah. This will
be our 5th event and our 5th company that we've partnered with. So it's we're not just doing this to benefit Kansas City influencers and content creators. It's also on the business side of things. We want to be able to showcase more Kansas City businesses, because there are some really, really cool businesses that are local to Kansas City that our audience of Socialite Circle members can really highlight and kind of draw attention to. So that's kind of the other side of the coin too.
And not to harp on the Socialite Circle too much, because for those of you that do not live in Kansas City, it sucks because you can't join them. We wish you were here, but apologies. Yeah. One day we'll be national though. We're working on some things behind the scenes. But in terms of being able to work with companies and restaurants and different brands in Kansas City, it's really nice to give people who are interested in creating content but maybe don't necessarily have experience to be able to do it. Because I remember when I first started making videos, I was oh, no brands are going to want to partner with me. Everything I do, I have to put my own money and resources into, and that sucks because now I'm overspending just so I can make a video, or I'm buying all these blushes so I can make a blush review and show people different things. And this gives influencers and creators in Kansas City an opportunity to do things for free.
Yeah.
It gives them a chance to get their feet wet and like what it takes to do a partnership. So like every event we have, we require people to post and share about the location that we went to, more about like who they are, and they have to tag us, of course. Like, why would they not tag the Socialite Circle? But they have to tag us, they have to tag the brand or whoever we work with for that, and yeah, it just really gives them that experience to be able to say, like, I partnered with XYZ, like, I got to do this. Like, they can start to kind of build their portfolio as well, which I think is something that when you are first starting out, like, you don't really know what to do, you don't really feel like you have much guidance, and like, to be honest, your shit kind of sucks. Like, I look back at the first few, like, even sponsored or non-sponsored, the first video you post, period, is just, like, not good. So being able to, like, learn through trial and error when it's lower stakes and just fun, I think is, like, really beneficial for the community we're creating.
Continuing to add on top of that, it's also just about, we keep harping on community. Community. But, like, really, it's also just about being able to build a little bit more of an intentional community, and even if it's not like, you know, your goal is to be a huge content creator and influencer, you can still just make friends at these events too. Like, I have met some of my own friends just through our events. I've been able to meet some really, really amazing people that I would have never been connected to had the Socialite Circle not been a thing. So I think that that's just kind of like the other side of things that we're focusing on too, is just like curating these events for people to meet other people, because a lot of people just come to these events by themselves and then they leave having like a lunch date or a drinks date, or
yes,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
people are
So,
going to do their own thing now, which
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate, because like when we first started this, we were like, how often do we want to have events? Like, how is this gonna work? And like, people being able to self-sustain the group is also really nice, because it's like, okay, I see y'all went out to do drinks, like, damn, why don't y'all invite me? Like, okay. What is this question too spicy? Let me know.
I don't know. Oh my god.
What what do you feel like has been your biggest struggle with balancing everything, right? Like, you are Miss Missouri, you are co-founder of what is somewhat a company. Like, we're not like registered, but like we operate as a business. You're in the midst of moving, you work full time, you're doing your own thing. So like, how are you balancing, and are you okay?
Yeah, I don't think it's too spicy.
Okay.
So in the middle of last year, in May of 2023, when I first became Miss Missouri, when I was preparing for Miss USA, I felt myself handling things a lot better, and I think that it's because I had a lot more like mental health practices in place. Like, for example, I was actually moving my body a lot. I was going to the gym a considerable amount. I was eating how I should, because I was also trying to, like, you know, prepare for like a physique competition and everything, and I just wanted to make sure that I was good. And that was definitely the most stressful period of my life, but it didn't feel like it because I had something else that I was able to kind of put that energy towards. I will say now, I think things like that, you know, where I'm realizing, oh my gosh, like, those were practices that were really grounding me and allowing me to kind of take on everything that I've been doing, because it gave me some sort of structure. And right now, I don't necessarily have that structure. So honestly, it's been a lot. You know, I'm prevailing, I'm still doing what I need to do, but it's truly been a lot. But I will say, kind of going back to those practices that kind of kept me grounded, game changer.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, I didn't compete for Miss USA or anything like that, but my plate was significantly also full. And like, I will say, like, when I'm working out regularly, or I like have a structured routine, like I'm going to bed earlier, like there's something that I'm doing every day for myself besides sitting on the couch and watching TV. Like, that's that's fun. Like, it's great to rot and like do your thing, but you also have to do something that's productive for self and not just like sitting and doing whatever the fuck, which is what I'm doing right now. Like, I feel like I'm talking about this every few weeks on TikTok, and I'm like, I just can't pull myself up. Like, it's time to get my bootstrap. Like, strap yourself up and like do it. You can do it, girly pop. And then weeks go by again and I'm back in the same cycle of like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to get myself up. Do you have any tips for like
Yeah.
making it re-happen for yourself? Because like you've done it once. Like how do you make yourself do it again?
Honestly, sometimes I think you genuinely need that time to not do anything and to realize that life ebbs and flows, and that's okay. I used to stress myself out so much, like literally so much, and it would like drive me crazy. But then I just one day realized nothing's real. Kind of what I tell myself. Nothing is actually as big of a deal as you're making it seem. The most important thing that you can do for yourself is resting. The most important thing you can do for yourself is taking care of yourself. I always prioritize rest, as you know.
Yeah.
And I was telling Jaden I hope you guys can still hear me, sorry. But I was telling Jaden sometimes to a fault, but I find myself really, really, really being able to just like prioritize my peace now and not prioritize my stress. Because before I was really prioritizing my stress. I think just taking that time to rest and not feeling bad for yourself when you're resting and not feeling like you should be doing something else and feeling like you should be productive because you're already productive enough. Like even if you don't get everything done that you need, that you're quote unquote need to get done, because remember, nothing's real, but not getting everything done that you feel like you needed to get done that day, you didn't hit everything on your to-do list, you still deserve rest. Like it's not like you don't it's not a goal that you strive for. Like rest is the thing. Like rest is what makes all of the other goals run. So it's not like a secondary thing. It should be primary, and it should be one of the main things in your life so that you can operate everything else efficiently.
Yeah. I will say, like, I notice a difference when I'm able to actually genuinely rest. I don't know how to work that into a busy schedule. So for those of us that are really busy, are jam-packed, but still want to prioritize rest, how do we do that? How do you do that?
I think kind of looking at it as like this time right here, like that's my time. And also like you said, like you don't want to stay up until however long just like scrolling because you feel like, oh, like, you know, I need to get my time back. I think getting your time back is also setting a limit on how long you are scrolling and how long you're doing whatever for yourself, because it's serving yourself more to also decide when to turn it off and be like, okay, I'm now going to shut it off and I'm going to go to sleep because that's something that's also serving me, and that's something that I'm also getting my time in, because again, rest being so essential. If it like overwhelms you to feel like, you know, even just like your activities that you're doing after the work is done is also something that you kind of like feel bad about doing or feel like it's not your time, then within your schedule, planner, whatever you use, literally write down, okay, done with work, here, I'm chilling, or it's like me time. And understanding that even if you're getting your nails done, even if you're doing this with friends, like something, that's still your time. Like that's still time for you to, you know, woosah, relax, shut down, because that's you time. So it's like you have that time after work, you have an activity in there. If you're going to the gym, that's you time. If you're going to get your nails done, that's you time. If you're going to hang out with a close friend, like that's also you time, because you're doing all the things that you want to do. So you time isn't just, you know, the solitude that you get, even though that's so important, and I'm a huge proponent of that. It's also all of the things that you do and the small pieces that kind of contribute to making you who you are. So your relationships, your mental, physical health, like all of that is contributing to make you a better person. So in my mind, that's also me time. That's also you time. So yeah.
It's kind of a hot take.
You think so?
A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, because it's like you do give, I understand it's like it takes energy to sometimes like give to those relationships and to give to those friendships, but like if those are things that make you happy, then like it's okay.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. So the girl is moving to Detroit from Kansas City. Yeah. You're from, well, you're from there, kind of.
Ish. Yeah.
You were born there.
No, I wasn't. How about I explain it?
Okay.
So I was born in Ohio. I literally don't remember like anything of it. The confusion on your face. I don't remember anything of it because I was like 2 when we moved. And then we moved to Michigan. And I have a lot of memories from Michigan. And I was in like the suburbs of Detroit. So I don't really, we were like probably 45 minutes.
You can't claim D-Town.
Yeah, I really can't. I really can't. So my area code's 248, so I really can't claim it. But yeah, so I don't remember a lot of Detroit. So I moved from the area when I was probably like 8, and then we moved to Missouri. So I've done most of my growing up in Missouri. I did most of my growing up in Missouri. And then, you know, when I found out that Josh, my boyfriend, would be moving to Detroit for his, you know, first like doctor job. Yay, so exciting. When we found that out, we were both actually kind of excited. We went and visited recently, and I am honestly really, really excited. Like, it's a very, very cool city. There's a lot of things happening, especially now with the Lions being good. Yay, how exciting. But not just that. Like, I think that there's a lot of opportunity, and I've always been somebody who kind of wants to be able to see different parts of the world, me moving within the country. But like, you know, I've always had like an interest in not just staying in Kansas City, but living elsewhere. And I think that this is a really nice balance between something new, but also like slightly familiar, because it's definitely still Midwestern, but it definitely is also a bigger city than Kansas City. So I'm excited to kind of find my way around somewhere new and kind of have a little bit more of a newer experience. But yeah, I love Kansas City. Kansas City has truly become home to me over the last few years. So it's kind of sad in a way, you know, like it really is. Just absolutely grown to love Kansas City. And I think it's funny because when I first graduated, which was during the pandemic, I always wanted to do this thing where, so I lived in New York for a few months, like in 2019 before the pandemic. And then I was like, oh, okay, like for my first job, I want to be in California. And for both my internship and my job, I would have been. But, you know, pandemic. And so I kind of at first looked at it as like a little bit of a loss in a way, that I wouldn't be able to actually, I mean, I could have if I wanted to, obviously. So I obviously didn't want to go that bad. But it's, I did, like, I looked at it like as a little bit of a loss, because I felt like I had struck the dream job, and I felt like I wanted to be able to like go into, you know, like the big headquarters in my Silicon Valley office and everything. But then, you know, those plans didn't shake out in that exact way when it came to location. But I'm so glad that it didn't, honestly, because I learned the value of like my family, of my friends, my friendships. I just had a completely different perspective on all of those things. So I'm glad that I spent a period of time in Kansas City before, you know, moving elsewhere, because I also don't think I would have discovered how much I loved Kansas City either. Like, I always kind of looked at it as like this is just kind of like a pause, and, you know, life will start when I actually move. But once I stopped looking at it like that, I truly fell in love with the city, and now I feel like I've been able to accomplish a lot of things and really bloom where I've been planted here in Kansas City. And now I can look at the time that I've had here and confidently say, okay, that's been awesome. This has been so fun. I still love this place, but I'm also excited to move on to something else.
We have talked a little bit about what it looks like when you have close friends move to different cities on this podcast, and like just people experiencing different life changes at different points in time of you. And like, I'm not gonna lie, when Autumn said like, okay, Josh placed here, like we're moving to Detroit, I was like, oh, I thought I was gonna be the first one to move. Like, I thought I was gonna be the first person to leave Kansas City. And like, all of us, like within kind of a sub friend group, like people that we hang out with and associate with, like a lot of people talk about moving and wanting to relocate out of Kansas City. I thought I was the one being serious about it. So I was like, God damn, like this is someone that I got really close with. So like, when she's moving, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for you and Josh. Like, it's gonna be perfect. And now I have somewhere to visit. Like,
Exactly.
I've never been to Detroit or even like anywhere in that region. Like, I've never been to Michigan.
Yeah.
What are the border states?
Please don't ask me questions like that.
Okay. I haven't been anywhere like really within that region.
Yeah.
Like, only in the east, the only place I visited is New York, and I was there for like 4 days. Like, actually, that's not true. I've been there like 7 days total. Like, come on. So yeah, I'm excited to visit. I'm sad, but it's not necessarily a loss because I'm not gonna be here for that much longer either.
Yeah.
Like, that's not my plan. Like, if anything, it lit a fire under my ass. So for those of you that do have friends that are also moving, or like you're in a similar situation where you are planning to move and like you just maybe haven't been taking the steps to make it happen for yourself, like let this be your sign. People are moving behind the scenes, like things are happening, and you're not getting left behind, but you absolutely have to do things for yourself.
And you know, I think that's very real. I think everybody has their own reasons for wanting to move.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has their own ideas of where they want to be, and you know how they kind of see life going. So it's like if that's how you feel and if that's your story,
Mm-hmm.
that's your story.
We are nearing the end of this episode. It's always great to catch up with Autumn. I hang out with her very often, so if this feels like scattered, like it's because that's pretty much how every conversation goes. Thank you for coming on the podcast. This has been fun. It's always fun.
Yeah.
And stay on the lookout for the Socialite Circle things. If we are in your city, there are things for you to do. If we are not in your city and you want us to be in your city, let us know, because we might be able to make some shake.
Mm-hmm.
To close things out, do you have any advice that you would give to someone listening to this episode?
Close things out, I would honestly just say bloom where you're planted. I think a big theme of this episode has been, you know, relocating, moving, and feeling that, you know, you're not doing enough, feeling that you want to do more, et cetera, et cetera. But when you really just kind of look around at your surroundings and look at what impact you can make where you are in that moment, rather than trying to look to where you can go to then be able to do the big thing, to then be able to make the big move, I think that's where we end up getting stuck. And I know for myself, that was definitely somewhere where I could have gotten stuck. But because I decided to just fully go for it in this city and to fully enjoy it to the best of my ability, and, you know, just to do all the things I wanted to do, I found myself very, very happy in Kansas City and truly loving Kansas City. So even if you're not exactly where you want to be, or you're not exactly where you feel that you should be, I think that there's always an opportunity to do something big and to make an impact where you are. Because sometimes maybe it's kind of like, you know, sometimes I feel like life is like little levels. Like maybe you just like haven't unlocked that one yet. So make the most of the opportunities that you have here, because life truly just goes like this, right? They're little building blocks. So allow yourself to build, allow yourself to grow, and don't take yourself too seriously. Nothing's real. Remember that.
Nothing is real.
Nothing's real.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Let's Have Breakfast.
All right. Bye. When I started off a little bit wet. Oh, wait.
Restart that.
Oh, okay. So, okay. It was like the middle of the year. Sorry. So,
Okay.
what? Anyways, in the middle part.
Everyone take a deep breath.
I feel like I'm so uptight. Let me.
No, I'm uptight so you can hear me in the
Do you
microphone.
think you can still hear if I'm like this?
Talk for a second.
Talking for a second.
Mm,
No.
not
I see
much.
I see no waves
Yeah.
moving. Maybe a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Not going
I
to
don't
be
think
able
that was right still.
What? Overrun?
Overrun?
That's a word.
But you're saying the cup is all the way full. Your cup would not be full, it would be empty.
No, it would be overrun. Like it's like here's the water, right? And then it's full. Listen, this is your glass. It's full. It's like a waterfall. It's just cascading because you can't add anything else to it. That's what I'm saying. Overrun.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I just have never heard. I thought the phrase was more so you can't pour from an empty cup.
That's
so
not even the cup I was saying. The cup I was saying. That's not even the statement.
It's a
I was
different cup in
making.
the drawer or in the cabinet.
It's a different one.
You gotta grab a
replace
different
that.
one.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to being serious because you were making a good point. And that's definitely staying in because
no,
it was funny.
You were like, what? Something that you're animal in here. I'm sorry, I don't deal with that. Yeah, so then get up, do your shower first. And who am I to tell you what to, but like literally, me of all people, we were just talking about how I don't have any structure. Like literally, I just said it on this podcast. But really, like this is me
You said, wake up early. Unlock. That's why I had to laugh. Because
Shut up. Is that what I did?
Yeah, I saw you start to giggle. I thought you were laughing about that.